Today, we discuss a convicted murderer of 7 infants and the attempted murders of 7 others. This is the story of Lucy Letby. Hey guys, welcome back to Grimworld. I'm glad you can make it. I'm your host, Devin Roberts, and today we're going to dive into the story of Lucy Letby. Who is Lucy Letby, you ask?
A trial that sent shockwaves through Britain. Lucy Letby, a neonatal nurse, convicted of killing 7 babies in her care.
It's been a nightmare. We have a volume of sick people like you can't believe.
Sent a sympathy card to the grieving parents of a baby she's alleged to have murdered.
Well, she's a British former neonatal nurse, but this is where it gets grim. She was convicted of the 7 murders of infants and attempted murders of 7 others. And it has been 2 years since Lucy Letby was literally told she would die in prison. This is after the fact that she received 15 whole life sentences. Here's the breakdown. Lucy, who is 35 years old, does not appear to show much remorse for these crimes, and many wonder how many more infants would suffer because of her if she was ultimately never caught.
Having vulnerable patients dependent on you and actually try to harm them, I can't begin to imagine why someone would do that.
I mean, damn, 7 babies down with 7 more to go. This has definitely made her the most prolific child serial killer in all of British legal history. Since she's been convicted, there's been vocal campaigns and pleas to protest her innocence. However, the investigators have not stopped looking into potential or actual other crimes against children she committed before she was caught. I mean, it's quite obvious. She was on a baby-destroying rampage, to say the least, or at least it appears that way. The police have confirmed that they have a stacked file of evidence which has been passed off to prosecutors who are also considering new charges connected with the fatal and non-fatal attacks on infants in Chester and Liverpool.
Letby felt in her own words that she's not good enough to care for the babies.
Lucy Letby was born in Hereford, January 1990, and from a young age it's reported that she always wanted to work with children, the first in her family to go to college and eventually worked as a nurse. She became a Band 5 nurse in 2011, and according to her colleagues, she was capable and trusted for the most part.
She seemed keen. She was fairly conscientious.
According to BBC.com, the public inquiry set up to examine how she was able to murder children under the noses of her colleagues. She initially failed her final year student placement because her assessor felt she was cold and lacked empathy with patients and their families. Letby appealed that decision. At the time of arrest, she was living in a modest semi-detached property in Westbourne Road, Chester, with 2 cats. They were named Tiger and Smudge and appeared to have an active social life. Lucy's criminal trial was a 9-month ordeal. The jury realized that Letby was present at a series of unexplained deaths and random collapses of vulnerable babies at the neonatal unit where she actively worked. I mean, she was there each time something happened to a baby, you know? At the indictment, she faced a list of charges. The trial focused on the period between June 2015 and June 2016, which is when Letby was actually removed from frontline duties. They gave her the boot.
Prosecution have been going through the children one by one.
This is where it gets crazy. Prosecutors said she straight up attacked her victim babies by physically injecting air into their bodies. She would also force feed them, poison them to death with insulin, and in some cases she would cause irreversible traumatic injuries by inflicting physical blows to these babies. And this is exactly why the case of Lucy Letby angers so many, especially parents, you could imagine. One key piece of evidence, an employee shift timetable, indicated Letby was present at every single damn incident, which was obviously considered super sus by the prosecution.
Post-it notes found in her handbag after her 2018 arrest reveals words such as, "I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough to care for them," and "I am evil, I did this."
Lucy received the verdicts in August 2023. She was convicted of 7 murders and 6 attempted murders, and with verdicts of not guilty on 2 counts of attempted murder. The jury was locked in on the other 6 counts. She had a retrial in July 2024 and was even convicted of yet another attempted murder. Lucy immediately filed an appeal, but it was rejected. What happens next is interesting. BBC states an academic paper by Dr. Shu Lee, a retired Canadian neonatologist, had been used by the prosecution at trial to highlight signs of vascular air embolism, the introduction of air bubbles into the veins in newborns. Dr. Lee, who was unaware of his work being involved in the case during the trial, had been contacted by Letby's legal team and stated his belief that his paper had been misinterpreted by prosecution experts. Letby was also separately refused leave to appeal against her conviction from the retrial. In September 2024, the Thirlwall inquiry into the circumstances of Letby's offending began in Liverpool and heard evidence over 7 months. The chairwoman of the inquiry, Lady Justice Thirlwall, had confirmed she would not hear evidence on whether Letby's convictions were safe, stating it was not the appropriate forum. The inquiry is due to publish its findings early next year. An innocence campaign was sparked after these findings. Questions about the safety of her convictions were also asked by Letby's legal team. They introduced into the courtroom online conspiracy theories, serious academics, medical experts, and statisticians. Former Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt said the case should be urgently re-examined. Dr. Lee said the panel had independently reviewed the evidence heard at the trial and concluded no murders or attempted murders had taken place.
And that's why I convened this panel, because I wanted to have a panel of the best in the world. And if we all say that the evidence is wrong, we should look at it again.
There was a combination of babies being in the wrong place, delivered in the wrong place.
So that's it? Not quite. Dr. Lee went on to say the experts believe the babies had died due to natural causes or maybe poor medical care. The report was submitted in an application to the Criminal Cases Review Commission. The CCRC is reviewing the application and said it could take some time to reach a decision as to whether to refer the case back to the Court of Appeal for a full hearing.
Having heard her application, has decided to refuse leave to appeal on all grounds and to refuse all associated applications.
The families of Lucy's victims, various lawyers, have all described this expert panel as a rehash and full of analytical holes. This definitely means the criminal investigation continues.
Allow yourself to reflect and you come to terms with the fact that, you've witnessed evil.
I mean, sure, Letby's legal team have been working hard to secure their new appeal. Relentless, one might say. You see, shortly after Letby was convicted in 2023, the police made it known that they are still actively investigating all non-fatal collapses and deaths of babies that were not included in the original indictment that took place at Countess of Chester Hospital and Liverpool Women's Hospital.
Lucy Letby is a very clever criminal, but she killed those babies, and that's the overwhelming evidence.
I mean, if Lucy Letby really did commit all these murders, we can't assume it stopped with 14 victims. Various investigative teams, one known as Hummingbird Team and Operation Duet, never stopped investigating, and Duet actually searched exclusively for potential offenses of corporate or gross negligence manslaughter, which related to the response of hospital leaders to rising death rates. More research was conducted, and we find that Operation Duet gained the knowledge that 3 former senior managers and the Countess of Chester had been arrested on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter. I can't make this stuff up. Operation Hummingbird eventually hands over all their research work and evidence to the Crown Prosecution Service so that they can reach a decision of introducing new charges to Lucy Letby.
To have somebody as self-centered as she is, I don't think I'd seen that before.
She is a dangerous individual. She preys on the trusts of many people.
In response, her specialist lawyer, Mr. McDonald, said that the evidence of her innocence was overwhelming. He goes on to state, "We will cross every bridge when we get to it, but if Lucy is charged, I know we have a whole army of internationally renowned medical experts who will totally underline their prosecution's unfounded allegations," he added. He goes on to state, "We will cross every bridge when we get to it, but if Lucy is charged, I know we have a whole army of internationally renowned medical experts who will totally undermine the prosecution's unfounded allegations," he added.
Nursery that we recall 25 years ago where the babies were all lined up for visiting hours, those days are gone. It's a new day.
Oh God, what a headache. It sounds like we have strong assumptions of Lucy Letby and even her associates of the unfair, violent treatment of these infant babies. And to the babies we lost in addition along the way, hopefully justice is served. I mean, Lucy will be locked away the rest of her life regardless. Hospital protocol should always be examined and in this day and age, surveilled. You're watching Grimworld. Thanks for tuning in and don't forget to subscribe. Also check out our Spotify. I'm out.